What's up, Rito? Shade Tree Surgeon here at Bert's Barracuda underneath the red, white, and blue, baby. You guys know how it usually goes at Bert's. I usually go straight from the Harley-Davidsons to the metric section. Bert keeps metric bikes around, so he always ends up having a deal. He likes to have bikes on the floor that aren't that expensive, and that's why he keeps metric bikes instead of sending them straight to the auction. The way he figures it, if you're getting your knees on the breeze, even though he's definitely a Harley guy, he really don't care what you're riding. And even though they do have some metric cruisers hanging out over there, I see a Yamaha V-Star and a Vulcan 900 Custom. Today, we're actually doing something completely different. Well, for me anyway. Even though there's plenty of iron on the floor, plenty of heavy metal. Today, we're going just a little bit faster and we're doing nothing but sport bikes. And hey, guess what? One of them ain't even a metric. We got two Japanese bikes and an American sport bike. And the American sport bike probably ain't what you're thinking. First up, we'll be starting with a classic, baby, the ZX-6R. Now, the Kawasaki Ninja holds a special place in my heart for a lot of different reasons, not the least of which is one Baker X Derrick out of California. Now, if you've been watching motorcycle YouTube for a long time, the ZX-6R holds a place of legend. Written by one of the greats, Baker X Derrick. Baker X Derrick, of course, old school motorcycle YouTuber, been doing it for years and years and years, and he still makes videos on the regular too. I try to see him every time I go to California. He gave me a big break early on, showed me the ropes, how a lot of things work. As someone who makes YouTube videos regularly, I owe a lot to Baker X Derrick for paving the way for what was possible with motorcycle videos. And of course, the Kawasaki, the ZX-6R, everybody knows that Baker X Derrick was always on a Cowie. And even outside of that, the 636, the ZX-6R, that's just one of those bikes that when you think about them, they just put that little bit extra in there. Like the Suzuki GSX-R 750, the 636, well, it wasn't a 600, was it? It was a 636. Even the numbers sound cool together. One of those things when you're looking at a 600 series bike, that little bit of extra oomph that Kawasaki loves to do. Kawasaki's got a chip on its shoulder with just about everything, and it shows in their bikes. It's also the Ninja name. The Ninja name is so freaking legendary. It sounds kind of ridiculous now and kind of silly, but the Ninjas back in the 80s, just god dang, dude, seeing those commercials, hearing the name, it sounded so cool, so exotic. A Kawasaki Ninja. Not like just a bunch of letters and numbers and that kind of crap. And I'm looking at you, Suzuki GSX-R. No, man, it had a name, the Ninja.
Every year, the ritual is repeated, the gauntlet hurled down, and the challenge begun. After months of rumors and speculation, it comes down to a single definitive combat. The outcome will be clear. Only one winner, one champion. Because there can be only one motorcycle that is the fastest production machine in the world. The challengers choose new weapons each year. So the champion must respond in kind. Ninja from Kawasaki. No quarter asked, none given.
At the end of the day, these specs, a lot of these high-end sport bikes, especially anymore, are so in line with each other. Like, nobody makes a bad sport bike these days. Come on. Not in this class anyway. You're pretty much going to get an amazing machine no matter where you go. So you might as well inject a little bit of personality into it. And the Ninja just makes me feel pretty cool, man. And I love this new updated look. They did this new look in the front, Kawasaki, across their entire line. And I think it looks really tough. It looks really good. And out of all the new sport bike fairings, a lot of which all look the same to me, I think the way that Kawasaki did it with their Ninja series is one of my favorites, although I'll put it neck and neck with the Yamaha R1 and the Yamaha R7. I think they look really good too. This thing's pretty damn new. It's got a loud exhaust on it, so let's go ahead and see what it likes to put my dirty little dick beaters all over the ZX-6R. Now, normally I like to sit in a motorcycle, not on a motorcycle, but it is still fun to do every once in a while. Variety is the spice of life. I've always had a soft spot for Kawasaki, man. And I think I've always had a soft spot for them because they've always had a hard-on for making really, really angry bikes that want humanity to perish. All the way back in the day with the H1 and the H2, the 500 and 750cc, three-cylinder, two-stroke death machines. Coming into the 70s with the Mad Max Special, the KZ900, the KZ1000, and then the GPZ900, the original Ninjas from back in the day. When Kawasaki first imported motorcycles to America, they imported nice, safe, mild little motorcycles that they thought the public would love, a la Honda. And when those motorcycles didn't sell, they took that real personally and came back a-swinging. They tried to be nice. Kawasaki tried to give us a nice, mild motorcycle, and when we didn't like it, they skipped the middle part and just went full-on guerrilla mode. Like a lover scorned, they've been sending ticking time bombs to young American men ever since the 70s. And let me tell you this, we haven't been at war with Japan for a long time. They've been our allies, of course, but someone didn't tell Kawasaki. They're like that last soldier on an island who still thinks the war is going, and you can tell when you twist the throttle on one of their motorcycles. You know I'm gonna say it. As much as I love this bike, what I really want to see is... Oh, that's nice. As much as I love this bike, what I really want to see is Kawasaki bring back the Eliminator. I'd love to see new Eliminators with a Ninja 1000 motor and the 636 motor in them. That would just kill it, man. You want to go one better? You want to go one better? I would really want to see an H2 motor in them. Supercharged H2 powered Kawasaki Eliminator. Back to the cruiser world, back to muscle cruisers. That's what I really want to see. Maybe we'll get it one day. I'm not holding my breath because I don't exactly know who would buy it. But twisting the throttle open on this thing, I wouldn't even want to change nothing, man. Just a direct port, okay? You imagine an Eliminator 636 with a quick shifter just banging through those gears, nothing changed, exact same motor, except you got a low slung seat and a drag bike, some pullback bars, your ass in a bucket seat, baby. I'd buy two. I mean, I would probably just buy one, but you get the drift. Now, Kawasaki does still make the Eliminator. At least they slapped the Eliminator name on a bunch of motorcycles that, in my opinion, don't deserve it, but they kind of always did that. Although I will say this about the 250 Eliminators back in the day, it wasn't just some, GZ 250 motor, some anemic little single-cylinder motor. No, man, it was the Ninja motor. The Eliminator still meant something back in the day. That was always kind of the deal with them. The Eliminator wasn't supposed to be just a cruiser. It was supposed to be a cruiser with a sport bike engine in it. That was the whole point. Give us your best chow in the comments down below. And if you're not subscribed to our man Baker X Derek, go rectify that. And if you are subscribed and haven't checked him out in a while, go back and say howdy. If my man is still making vids on the reg, I would say you could definitely do worse than a 636. Oh, I love it, dude. What a cool sound this thing makes. I just want to see it coming out of a cruiser, that's all. Now, as much as I love the Sex 3 Sex, I'm going to tell you right now, let's go ahead and pull something out with just a little more beef. Next up, the legendary Hayabusa, the Blackbird Killer, the fastest motorcycle in the world for a time, a motorcycle that inspired movies, countless riders, clubs that weren't Harley-Davidson clubs, customization that had nothing to do with HD, opened up the world of sport bike customization in a way that I always thought was so cool. The Hayabusa is undeniable. Love it or hate it, you cannot deny the influence that this motorcycle had on the world. The speed wars, specifically between the Hayabusa and the Blackbird, were instrumental in making me want a motorcycle when I was a kid. We had lunchroom fights over what the better motorcycle was. We were fighting them like Pokemon back in the day. Not just that though, but it's the fact that the Hayabusa inspired so many people to customize motorcycles in a world that really was dominated by Harley-Davidson. I'm talking about late 90s, early to mid 2000s, just the height of Harley customization, of chromed out bikes and farkles and all these things, it was unthinkable that if you were going to customize a bike that it'd be anything but a Harley Davidson. And if it was going to be not a Harley Davidson, it definitely was going to be another cruiser. Well, the Hayabusa turned that on its head. And I'm sure that no one in Japan ever thought that this was going to happen to Hayabusas. They never thought anybody was going to be polishing the frames, covering them in chrome, and doing all this wild custom stuff. They never could have seen this coming. And a lot of times I wonder whoever designed the Hayabusa, whoever's on that team, what they ended up thinking of movies like Biker Boys and where the Hayabusa ended up on the hierarchy of sport bikes. I personally love it, but I'm a magpie. I love shiny things. So when it comes to customized sport bikes, I know there's a lot of people who customize them for even more speed, but when it comes to me, this is a little more my speed. This is a perfect example of something that if I had a Hayabusa, probably what it would look like. Loud as hell and covered in chrome. The Hayabusa. Man, I was just clowning Suzuki for naming their bikes GSX-R. So freaking boring. Now the Hayabusa, that's a proper name. You know, it's probably going to be faster in a straight line than the 636, and oh yeah, dude, you can feel that torque. This thing's a monster. But what I really like about the Hayabusa versus the 636 is this one's American-sized. Now, I'm not just talking about a 1300cc engine. I'm not just talking about all that horsepower. I'm talking about the fact that really, this is closer to a sport touring bike than it is a sport bike, I think. It's got some generous proportions, which I very much appreciate. Hayabusas are definitely big boy friendly, not just because of the torque. It'll come as a surprise to no one that out of all the sport bikes in the world, I've spent more time on a Hayabusa than any other two put together. It's always a toss-up between the Blackbird and the Hayabusa for me, though I've never spent any time on a ZX-14. The Blackbird is definitely the classier motorcycle, but when it comes to classy, I just don't know if that's my speed. The big Honda is definitely wearing a velvet glove, and the Hayabusa, it's not wearing gloves at all. This thing is a bare-knuckle brawler, baby, and you can tell. It is unrefined, it is loud, powerful, jerky, deliciously low tech, and I love it. It's always fun when the Japanese follow that old American adage of there's no replacement for displacement. Because when they put their minds to it, or maybe rather take their minds out of it and use something else that Mother Nature gave us, they can do it just as good as the American boys can. The Hayabusa is proof positive of that, and the fact that this one's covered in chrome, well, that just means they really hit the mark when it came to making Americans love it. I like that a lot. The Hayabusa is one of those bikes that just never runs out of balls. I personally always love it when you can shift all the way up to 6th gear, a place where a normal 4-cylinder bike would be crying for mercy when you crack it wide open. And the Hayabusa, oh, the Hayabusa don't mind at all. It'll still just lug right up to the triple digits without skipping a beat. Nice when you don't have to downshift a 4-cylinder, but that's what happens when you make them 1300 cc's. It doesn't handle bad, it just handles bad for a sport bike. Although I think this one is lowered, which definitely hurts the handling. I think a stock height Hayabusa doesn't really handle that bad. So when it comes to sport bikes, would a Hayabusa, would that be my choice? Is that what I would choose to ride around if I was in the boy racer crowd? Well, I hate to sound like a broken record, and it sure would come as no surprise to anybody that I'm going to say exactly this. Yeah, I'd love to have a Hayabusa. Kind of. I'd much rather have a B-King. My good buddy Red had a Suzuki B-King, which, you guessed it, is a standard motorcycle with a 1300cc Hayabusa motor crammed in it. Not quite a cruiser, but a lot closer than this. And man, the Suzuki B-King was just one of my favorite bikes that ever came out. They only made the thing for a couple of years, and I think that's such a shame. I think they should bring back the B-King, because I like that a lot better. I know it's a Suzuki, and I hear a 4-cylinder sound, but it just feels like riding an American motorcycle. Just not having to downshift, or hell, having to upshift either. You're just basically got this thing in whatever gear you please, 3rd through 6th, and it can pretty much handle anything, even starting from a light. The world's just better with the Hayabusa in it. Because something this legendary, it should never die. The 0-cylinders Harley-Davidson LiveWire. Now, I think technically on paper, it actually makes less torque than the Hayabusa, but it's the way that it delivers it that's really special. This is an early edition LiveWire 2, first strike, number 153 out of 500. The LiveWire, it just always sort of seemed like it was doomed from the start, and that's too bad because it was just so lamented and so lambasted, much like anything Harley-Davidson tries to do that's new, that's outside of the box. It always just kind of ends up getting crapped on by everybody. Almost no motorcycle manufacturer is on the cutting edge. They try to reuse things and keep old frames and engines going for absolutely as long as they can. Harley-Davidson just for some reason ends up getting the brunt of that hate from motorcycle journalists who kind of set up the specs of these motorcycles, fight them like Pokemon. Didn't I just say I was doing that earlier when I was in the lunchroom? Anyway, talking about change and new things, and I thought the LiveWire was a great looking bike. Now, personally, I really don't have any interest in buying an electric motorcycle. I'd certainly take one, but I probably wouldn't pay money for one if I'm being absolutely honest. Though I loved the way the LiveWire looked. They didn't really try to make it look electric. It still looks like it's got something going on down there. So many e-bike and electric motorcycle companies really try to draw attention that it doesn't have a motor. They'll leave like this big void there as this artistic expression of it having no motor. And I don't like that. I think it looks bad. Like, put something there. I like the way that Harley-Davidson did it. I think the LiveWire, in my opinion, is not only the best looking electric bike I've ever laid eyes on, but it's just a damn good looking motorcycle in general. Now, I know LiveWire is its own company now, and the Del Mar everybody loves, or at least all the motor journalists are pretending to love it. Yeah, that's kind of the thing with electric bikes. They always feel like they're being shoved down our throats, like, you have to love this, you're an asshole. Well, that's a surefire way to make someone not love something. And the LiveWire, of course, was a victim of that, and it's really too bad, because I think this motorcycle was awesome. It just really never got a chance. Years from now, I think it'll occupy the same spot as the V-Rod, something that was just a little ahead of its time. But it's been a while since I threw a leg over one. Let's see if it's as fast as I remember, and see if it's faster than the Hayabusa. Let's rumble this thing to life. Actually, if I remember, I think it has like a vibration feature when you turn it on. Let's see. Like, it doesn't vibrate the whole time, but I think it does like a little zzz. Nope, never mind, it doesn't. That'd be cool. Just a little bit, just to let you know it's awake. Let's go ahead and make sure that we're in sport mode. Otherwise, what's the point? Dude, these things are freaking incredible. Even if electric bikes aren't your thing, it's just such a blast to ride one of these around. Now, I've only got 86 miles left till it's empty, so I don't exactly think it's a cross-country touring motorcycle, but it's just so damn fun. Now, admittedly, I haven't spent a lot of time on a lot of different electric bikes. I've never ridden a Zero. I'd really like to try one out. I've just never tried one. I've been on a couple of new upstart brands, and I've spent a little bit of time
time on a Sur-Ron, and they were all fun, but I've never been on anything that just had the absolute guts that the LiveWire did. Just the way it accelerates is so different from anything else, man. It really is. It's its own level of fun. It's its own level of excitement. It just doesn't replace a gasoline motorcycle's excitement for me. It's its own thing. I think that's maybe where I don't know, where the kickback is, and I don't know what it is. Somebody who was a little more conspiratorial than I was would think that, you know, the major motorcycle journalists, there's a reason that they're cramming electric bikes down our throats, which again, like I said, is a surefire way to make people dig their heels into the ground and hate them. I feel like there'd be just half as much hate for electric motorcycles if they hadn't you felt like they're being forced on you, you know? It just feels like there's some overarching conspiracy to force electric motorcycles down our throat. I don't know, man. And again, I don't have anything against them. I can see that they're really being pushed so hard, and you're kind of labeled as a cretin, an idiot, a Luddite if you don't want one. Again, I don't know if any of the people who are trying to push electric bikes have ever met an American, but that's not how you get them to like something. Wars have been fought over less. Just all this stuff together, Harley-Davidson's mismanagement of the LiveWire program, which I feel comfortable saying that they did, just the general media's trying to force feed electric motorcycles to people, all this stuff together just really never gave the LiveWire a chance. And I really do think that's a shame, because out of all the electric motorcycles, I really, really like the LiveWire. I think it looks great. Again, I haven't spent that much time on other ones, so basically just going from a looks perspective, I just think this is a really good looking motorcycle. Just once again, what are you going to do with a motorcycle that's got a 100-mile range? For me, yeah, most of the time I won't do that every single day, and having only a 100-mile range for the whole day, most days will not be a big deal. But even knowing that, I would feel super, super limited by only having a 100-mile range. It would give me anxiety. Maybe that's just something about the philosophy of motorcycles that the people who are designing these things just don't understand. It's the fact that, dude, you want freedom, and being on this doesn't feel like freedom. It feels limited. You know, I feel trapped a little bit, and you know, it's fine because I'm having a good time on it and I like riding them, but I can't help but feel like I am trapped within the city on this thing, and I don't like that, and most Americans don't like that. I feel like just not even Harley-Davidson and the way they marketed the LiveWire, but just the way that electric motorcycles have been presented to us in general, somebody is really, really missing the mark. Because ultimately, this is an awesome bike. It looks great, it's fast as hell, it handles well, it's comfortable. This is an awesome bike. And yeah, everyone's gonna say, well, it's so expensive, it was crazy expensive. They're not wrong. This is an expensive motorcycle, so I guess that was also definitely working against it. But I don't know, man, Harley-Davidson sells a lot of expensive motorcycles. Why didn't this one do well? I think it has to do with way more than the fact that it was expensive. I don't think that has that much to do with it, because obviously people who buy Harleys have been willing to shell out a lot of money for a motorcycle. Give me a break here. God damn, this thing just goes though, don't it? Once again, the kind of motorcycle that can really, really get you into trouble. With the range that a LiveWire has on it, down to 79 miles, and I haven't exactly used up those miles. Like my man Steve Earle said, the LiveWire is a lot like that old cap and ball Colt. It can get you into trouble, but it can't get you out. What fun getting into trouble though, baby. The poor LiveWire, the tragic tale of Harley-Davidson's first electric bike. Was it ahead of its time? I don't know. Maybe its time will never come. I just don't know how electric motorcycles are ever going to work, or if they're ever going to take off, or if as they keep getting forced on us and we lose our internal combustion motorcycles, if the entire idea of motorcycling as we know it will just slowly drift away and die an ignominious death with a whimper, not a bang. That I couldn't tell you. I'll tell you this though, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, so I'm sure as hell gonna keep on enjoying what we got.
As always, huge thanks to my man Bert at Bert's Barracuda and Black Widow for letting me put my dirty little dick beaters all over these motorcycles. Trust me, I know exactly how how fortunate I am to be able to ride so many different motorcycles. It makes me very, very happy. In fact, I feel fortunate all the time. I feel fortunate to have access to all these motorcycles, to YouTube, to all these different things that allow me the freedoms that I enjoy here in America. And we, of course, have our troops to thank for that. I don't go on about it a lot, but I got plenty of people who served in the military in my family. I got nothing but respect for them. I got nothing but respect for what they do so I can continue to be an asshole. I never served myself, and I'm glad I didn't have to, and it makes me very thankful for all the people who did so I didn't have to. That being said, there is a lot of U.S. military that falls through the cracks. There's a lot of people who come back from these horrific conflicts with PTSD, other problems, physical problems. They fall through the cracks and they become homeless. The fact that an American military veteran could become homeless in America just absolutely blows my mind. The fact that the system allows that to happen is nothing short of insanity to me. Well, I don't know if I can change the system. In fact, I know I can't change the system. So we'll just do what we can right now. And that's what Bert's Salute to America is. He's given away a bunch of prizes, but those prizes are all doing the same thing. Raising money to bridge the gap for our homeless veterans here in America so they can have a physical address and start to collect the VA benefits that they earned. Does that fix everything? Does that change the system? Does that make it so they weren't allowed to fall through the cracks in the first place? No, it doesn't. But what are we gonna do? Nothing? Makes me proud to know Bert and everyone here at CUDA and Black Widow and everything they're doing, including my man John Blockhead Moto over in Orlando, who helped build the giveaway bike, which all the proceeds from are being donated to Bert's Salute to America Foundation. But we're not just giving away 135 cubic inch supercharged road glide. There's a few other things too. Let's go take a look. So I'm not just telling you guys about Bert's Salute to America Foundation. I'm not just asking you to help somebody who has less than you, to help somebody who's given everything to make sure that we can continue to live the way that we do. There's also going to be a whole hell of a lot of prizes. We're giving away a prize every single month from November all the way to May when we pull the new winner for whoever's getting that Screaming Demon, the 135 Blockhead Supercharged build. Coming up next in November, though, is this Serial 1 e-bike. If you remember me, Cammy, and Bert and Shay had a hell of a time on these things. They're an absolute blast. Someone's going to be winning that, and whether bicycles are your thing or not, it's still a $4,500 e-bike. December, we'll be giving away a $1,000 shopping spree at Bert's Barracuda or Bert's Black Widow, though if you want to take that $1,000 and put it towards a bike, I'm sure they can be talked into it. January, Bert's Paint Shop is going to do a set of custom tins either for the bike that you already have or the bike that you're gonna get. More on this later, but February we'll be giving away another Sportster, the green bobber this time, that had low compression in the rear cylinder, but we got a big bore kit to fix that. I love cracking a walnut with a hammer. We got a Springer front end and a bunch of other goodies to put on that bike. Look for videos coming soon on that thing. Come April, we'll be doing another fishing trip, flying you down for an all expenses paid weekend of fishing, debauchery, motorcycles, anything else we can fit in there. And of course, May, somebody is winning a 200 horsepower supercharged road glide. That thing is out of control. Well, guys, that's gonna about do it for this one. I'm gonna have a link down below to Bert's Salute to America Foundation where you can grab raffle tickets for everything that's given away. And even if you don't win anything, because it's not really about that, is it? It's about helping people who gave the most. It's about helping somebody up who has less than we do. And it makes me proud to know that we're all doing this one together. We are bad people doing good things, good-hearted villains and dangerous women. Till next time, y'all, keep it weird.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Armies of the night, evil taking flight. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Panic spreading far and wide. Can the world oppose the deadliest of foes? Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Who will risk it all to end the evil call of Shade Tree? Army. Shade Tree, army. They never give up, they never say die, walking tall with banners high. Shade Tree Army, a ruthless gang of scum, villains, freaks, and bikers determined to rule the world.